Hey, Maddie. So, about your sister. Alright, well, I'm glad we had this talk.
Oh, you got the achievement on that one.
Yeah, that's... I guess we needed, like, one more bothering him to actually get the achievement.
What was it, Bad Therapist?
Oh, I could not read that.
Nice to
And
meet
at this
you.
point, if you keep talking to him, he just kind of... It cycles
Alright
back
then.
through Dust's reactions.
Right.
So, hey guys, welcome back to some Dust.
My favorite customer.
Really welcome back. I'm the Comic Foil.
I'm the GreenScorpion.
And, so this is an episode I didn't really
Need anything
want to
else?
have to make. But, okay, so this episode was out a while ago. This is Dust, episode 15. And there was a problem, which I can explain later if you want,
Anything else?
but that video that was originally on YouTube got deleted. It is gone forever.
And before anyone starts accusing YouTube of being like, oh, you guys are ruining YouTube, things are not working out, like, this Copa crap is, like, terrible. It wasn't anything on YouTube's part, I don't
No,
think.
this was-
But
this
at
was-
the same time, they could really do some things to maybe work out a few kinks
I
in their
wish
system.
the system worked easier, that I would be able to fix this easier, but this was human error on my part.
Right.
So what we're gonna do today is, I managed to retrieve the video and audio file of this game.
But not our commentary.
Yeah, so what we're doing now is we're rewatching our footage of the game and commenting over it, because if we didn't make another one, people, you know, for the sake of posterity, people watching the Dust playlist would watch episode 14, wonder where 15 was. So this is just to stick in here in the middle.
Right.
Good work, Augustin. I knew I could count on you.
Are you heading up the mountain? This is the long way up, but the old road was blocked off ages ago, so you don't have much choice.
Don't worry about us. You stay here and guard these rocks.
I'll take it as a personal challenge. You and me, Dust, we're gonna save the world.
Thanks, Augustin.
You know, for how incompetent, quote unquote, he might be, at least he's got a good attitude.
I think he just sort of knows he's an NPC and just has to, like, stay in the same place.
We like, okay, so yeah, at this point, like,
Oh, the wall chicken that got away.
yeah. So at this point, John and I have played through the entire game. We know what to expect, but we're not going to say what happens later on for the sake of spoilers, like, in case you guys are watching these episodes, like, in actual order.
That
you know?
wall chicken has become one with the wall.
Yep.
So, I was really heartbroken to have lost this episode in particular, because even though it's not a very story-important episode for Dust, we don't fight a boss or anything like that. It's just us going through the next area
Yeah,
of
the
the
next
game.
major area, yeah.
But I mean, I worked really hard to try and get that one sound file back.
Yeah. It's not a good feeling no matter what you do. When you lose work like that, especially if it's something that you could have avoided, but because, like, you know,
The real lesson is to keep a backup, but
yeah, the worst thing about it is, or like the takeaway really is that it really would be nice if you could undo something just because your hand slipped.
yeah, it's.
What
so,
did we stand around there for?
I wonder if we were, like, fixing the sound.
We might have been. Yeah, so we have been having issues with the sound, but that's because these cables, like, John has a splitter.
Yeah, we have
where-
a really janky audio splitter for our headphones.
Yeah, and it turns out to be a little less reliable than we'd like, but at the end of the day, it really wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, so we get to this new, really pretty area here.
I really like the music in this area.
I like snow areas. I don't always like ice physics, but snow areas are always really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So Blackmore Mountains.
Yeah, the music here is really good too. Who was the one playing through this area? I think
This was me, because
yeah,
it's an odd-numbered episode.
That's right.
You have all the even-numbered episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're fighting wolves. So one of the problems is, how this got deleted was I was looking at the videos, I was using my Chromecast, you know, where you cast something to your TV using the Google Chrome, the Fire Stick.
Yeah.
So I had it on my queue to watch, and then I was just checking something, and I said, okay, I want to remove it from the queue. So on my phone in the YouTube app, I went into the queue, and I clicked on it, and I meant to hit remove from queue, but instead I hit delete.
Oh.
And when you're doing this on a computer, it, like, asks you, are you sure? You need to check a box. There's a lot of safety things put in place to make sure you don't accidentally delete your video, but when you're doing it on the phone, it just goes, okay!
Yeah, that's one thing that I would like to see change in regards to how YouTube handles themselves. Like, it's... The mobile version of YouTube can get a little bit...
Yeah. Now, if you're a professional, which I am not, you should keep a backup of all your videos.
Yes.
And I, have been low on space lately that I deleted a lot of the stuff for the... Like, anything that's a few weeks back, I've probably deleted to make more room on my computer. And because I didn't feel like backing it up to my external hard drive.
Yeah, okay, so here we read the note, and I can't actually read it
I can't read that right now.
From this. I guess anyone... Oh, there you go, that works.
Only been able to make this climb once, but I'm sure if I were ever want to return to that place, I think something was wrong with my eyes. It was so rocky... It's something about it. It was rocky and something, or was that blocky?
It was frigid.
Yeah.
It was
rocky and frigid, or is it blocky and rigid?
It was frigid.
Yeah.
But that was one of the notes for finding one of the friends, which we do eventually get to.
I watched the Games as Lit analysis of this game recently after we beat it, so that I wouldn't get any spoilers. I watched it, and it said one interesting thing, because Dust's Journey is a lot about balance, is that it's kind of interesting that even though you get to choose what stats to increase, there's kind of a forced balance in it, that your highest stat can never be more than 4 places higher than your lowest stat.
Yeah, I did see that.
So the game kind of forces you to balance yourself.
Which I think is actually a really good system, personally.
I'm being careful not to say any of the things that we find out about Dust in the next episode of this Let's Play.
Looks like the snow hasn't fully settled yet. We should be careful. The slightest wrong move could set off another avalanche.
Don't look at me. You're the one who can't fly.
Yes, but you're the one with the big mouth.
Hey!
Uh-oh.
Fidget?
There's some good Dust fidget.
Oh no! Like this episode, I remember has some of the best.
Hello again.
Some of the best banter.
Some of the best banter between the three. Not just Fidget and Dust, but also Ara. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. So I was especially sad for this episode too, losing it, because a lot of people are gonna think this got deleted for lewd content. If you watched this one before, this was the zebra episode.
Yes, the
where we tell
why zebras are no longer allowed in your campaigns, and for the sake of preserving it, especially because it was kind of requested by a friend of ours to tell it, do you want to regale them with that story again?
Yeah, I'm sorry it's a little bit less authentic this time because we're saying it because we said it before.
Yeah, but still.
Okay, so yeah, we had a question from our friend Joe, who's a friend of the channel, asked us to retell this story.
Well, I see a way up, but I won't be able to reach those ledges without some help.
Let's look around. Maybe we'll find another way to tackle this cliff.
Alright, so yeah, this is where we figure out that, okay, yeah, this is where we're getting a double jump.
Yeah. So the story goes. Joe asked us to explain the story in Dungeons & Dragons of why I don't let sheep and zebras into the campaign anymore, and goats. It's kind of a long thing. Okay, so the first time we ever all played D&D together, so it was, I was DMing, Oscar was there, Nameless Nick was there, Patty was there,
yeah.
Joe was there.
But the star of the show
is our friend Dylan, who maybe you might recognize if you watch like some of my Mario Party videos on the channel or something. So none of us were taking it like too seriously because it was our first time playing D&D. Like I remember Joe on his character sheet for like deity put the heavy.
I do
as
remember
his god,
that
because he was playing this big like Russian Gaiovich.
Sergey.
Yeah, Sergey, the barbarian. Dylan was playing a character named Sir Not Appearing in This Film, or Sir Not Appearing in This Campaign, sometimes.
But, like, we called him Cernot for short.
Yeah, we shortened it to Cernot. So he was a human fighter. He ended up being the guy with, like, a crazy amount of armor and was really hard to hit. So the campaign started... The beginning of it was everybody on a ship. They were going to, like, the new world.
Yeah.
And I took some time before the first encounter started. Eventually pirates came and attacked, and that was your first encounter. But I asked everybody, you know, what they're doing while they're on the ship. So, like, the rogue was trying to get the clerics to help him steal some contraband wine from the storage room, and Oscar's monk was, like, standing at the front of the ship looking wistfully into the distance, and...
Yeah, I like tropes. I liked a lot of those, like, cliche anime tropes when I was in high school.
And, Joe's Barbarian was sitting on deck, menacingly polishing his warhammer. And so we're like, Dylan, what is Cernot doing? And he decides, okay, so, he said he's asleep in his room, and then when the pirates attack and, like, they're asking all able-bodied men to come up on the deck, and he says, okay, so Cernot, tumbles out of his room, he looks all harried, his hair is messed up, and he wanders out of the room with a goat. Because Dylan was being funny and gross and stuff like that. And it was like...
yeah, he was like, draw your own conclusions.
Yeah, draw your own conclusions. So... And like, okay, haha, funny joke. But later on,
Funny joke!
Funny joke! Oh yeah, we had this thing. Yeah, I think... I was confused about the mirror thing, but I think she tries to silence you.
Depending on who she has on the mirror,
Yeah.
she will hit.
Yeah.
She basically conjures up like a voodoo doll type of... An ice voodoo doll.
Whoa. So...
By the way, I don't think I've ever brought this up during the playthrough.
Take that, Mimi.
Don't hold back, Fidget.
I really like the boss music in this game.
Yeah.
It's very epic.
So
And
this
there's
is where,
the double
This is where
jump.
we get our double jump.
And, yeah, I remember, like, the first time I saw this, I was like, oh my god, it's totally the Monarch Wings from Hollow Knight.
It is the Monarch... Or maybe the Monarch Wings are the double jump from Dust, because Dust was first.
That is true. Like, for all we know, it could have been inspired by, Dust.
So you grow
But
some
like,
awesome
like you
wings
even
here.
get the etherealness of the feathers and the wings. Like they pop out and then like fade back when you do the
Yeah.
double jump. It's totally like in Hollow Knight.
It kind of makes more sense in Hollow Knight, because, like, you're a bug.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like I'm pretty sure in Dust it was a unique thing anyway, and
Yeah.
like it's a really cool take on just having like, you know, a classic Super Smash Brothers double jump type thing. But anyway.
I also remember this is the part where I mess up a lot of jumps because I'm telling the story while playing.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna see me fail to jump a lot here. Like here I'm like, wait, what do I do? Even though I just got a double jump.
And I'm like, dude, you have a double jump.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So this goat, Cernot's goat became a thing. And he would be like, okay, I'm gonna give this... Like, I'm gonna give the message to my goat and have the goat run ahead. And I'd be like, Dylan, you don't have a goat. You never... There's not, like, a goat in your inventory. You don't, like, get an animal companion. If you want a goat, you have to, like, spend some of your gold and purchase a goat or acquire a goat. You can't just, like, decide you have things. That's not how D&D works. But he would just do it all the time anyway. So, this correlation happened then with Cernot and livestock.
Yeah, that's right.
So, another part of this was that if you've ever played D&D 3.5, the character sheets in that, there's a lot of more skills back then than there are in D&D now, and it included write-in skills.
Yeah.
So there would be
like
like
talents or like performances and
yeah. So besides performance music and performance dance and stuff, there might also be performance blank, and you can decide what your performance is.
Yeah, because there are, like, I like the fact that D&D kind of, like, leaves that open to interpretation. It's like, hey, like, we know there are other talents besides just these, and if you guys want to incorporate one into the campaign, and I remind you that you have a double jump here,
it gives you a lot of,
it gives you a lot of
creativity
room
with
to
your
basically
character.
be like, hey, like, draw your own conclusions.
Like,
D&D's all about telling your own story, so tell your own story.
If your character's like a sword juggler in the circus, then you can have a performance juggle.
Yeah. Which, unfortunately, Dylan took this to heart a little more so than we would have liked.
Yeah, because, again, we were all writing dumb things on our character sheets. So, Dylan writes... I'm trying to get this in the right order.
So, okay.
But I believe he
wrote...
wrote...
No, he wrote zebra butt sex.
He wrote zebra butt sex.
Yes.
As one of his skills.
Yeah, he wrote performance zebra butt sex. And John looked at that on his, like... Okay, so another part of the story is that we all gave our character sheets to John.
Yeah.
Because so, like, he can keep
so
track
one day
of all,
while
like,
looking over Dylan's character sheet, I'm like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah, like, he's like, Dylan, what the hell is this? And he's like, zebra butt sex. And John is like, no, you cannot have zebra butt sex as one of your talents.
I'm not amused. Also, that's a waste of your skill points.
Yeah, seriously. You're never going to use zebra butt sex ever, because I am never going to have zebras in my campaign ever again.
Yeah, I think he eventually changed it to seduction.
But he only ever used it
specifically for zebras.
Well, not just zebras. He wrote seduction, but he would only ever use it on animals.
So I said, fine, the DMs should give the players freedom, but, you can make your character however you want. If you want to have a copulating with zebras skill, that's fine. I will make sure that zebras never appear in this campaign.
And that is the story why zebras are never, ever allowed in John's campaigns ever again.
Yeah.
That being said, for those of you who might be wondering if Dylan's actually into that, he's not.
No,
he's not. He was Dylan. There's a reason.
Dylan's not a furry that I know of.
Yeah, no.
And even being a furry is different than actually committing bestiality.
Exactly. The thing is, it's like what was I going to say? Dylan, for all intents and purposes, is the wild card of our group. He is the quote-unquote lol I'm so random character of our party. In real life.
Now, there's a bit of an epilogue to this since the time I told this story in the original episode.
Yeah?
Which is, so, Allie and I were at home. Allie was talking to Dylan on the phone about stuff, and I remembered this episode. Because at least one person commented and was like, so, is Dylan a furry? And I was like, well, not that I know of.
Sorry, Dust. I don't think you're double jumping over that. Stupid avalanches ruin everything. Go ahead, name me one good thing an avalanche has ever done.
Well, now that you mention it, this might be a crazy idea, but maybe we can clear some of the snow off of that mountainside.
You mean make another avalanche?
That's the idea, yes.
You're crazy. I love it.
Really? Do I need to be the voice of caution here? Need I explain how creating an avalanche puts us all in danger?
It's really the only way, Aura.
Yeah, Aura, it really is. Is it?
It is.
Very well. Let's do this thing.
Okay, so sidetracking from our story for a moment, I love the fact that Aura broke his composure all of a sudden.
Best
there.
Aura moment.
Well, that did something.
It sure did. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking we find another one.
Huh?
That obviously wasn't enough. We need to break more pillars.
Fidget, I think the bitter cold is creating lapses in your judgment.
That is ridiculous. I'm perfectly...
So, Fidget's fever-ridden brain is making her more stir-crazy.
Dust, be careful. Watch overhead. The snow is not the only thing you are shaking loose.
Yeah, and speaking of Aura, I love the fact that he's this, like, wise sage character throughout the entire game, and then all of a sudden, like, the fact that Dust and Fidget are contemplating creating avalanches, he's like, okay, wait, no, enough with the sage stuff. I need to get this drilled into their heads that this is a bad idea.
If Fidget's not going to be the voice of reason, I guess I have to do it. Poor Aura, he's been traveling with these two idiots for too long.
The thing is, though, like, I know, yeah, the episode was lost, but I still think it was an important episode, particularly because, like, you start to see that these three really are starting to become, like, that team that, like, you see in, like, a classic anime
this
setting.
is one of the best segments for seeing, like, their character dynamic, the three of them, like, the team they've grown into.
Like, it's kind of like, how do I guess maybe you could say, like, Dust is the muscle, Aura is the brains, and Fidget's the heart.
I can see that, yeah.
Kind of like that trifecta, sort of thing.
Yeah. Or like, Fidget's the id, and Dust is the ego, and Aura's the super ego.
He might be.
Yay.
Well, I guess Fidget is the id in this case. Where her,
yeah, especially now, when she's not, because she's usually the one who doesn't want to do anything dangerous, but with the fever, she's not her usual self.
Yeah, I really like the dynamic between these two, or these three.
Not enough! Not enough! We'll need to find more if we're going to clear away that snow.
We really should get you someplace warm, Fidget. I think you're coming down with something.
Never!
I wonder what the voice direction was for Fidget's voice actress in that regard.
Whatever it was, she turned it up to 10.
Absolutely, I love it. So...
Okay, so yeah, somebody was commenting asking, is Dylan a furry? I said, not that I know of. The Buffalord!
Yeah, that's right!
First appearance of Buffalord!
And this is where we learn, oh yeah, like, pairing him is not as effective as with other enemies, because he recovers from it pretty quickly.
Yeah, he only gets parried for a second. It's very... These guys are tough.
Yeah, I also like his outfit. Like, the Buffalord has a really good design.
Buffalord is just something we kind of start calling him.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Dylan is not a furry. Like, again, the reason I say he's like the wild card of our group is because he likes being funny.
And you know, I'm not trying to talk garbage on furries either. Like, that's a choice.
Yeah.
I don't always understand it, but I mean, you know, if you're not hurting anybody.
I know a couple of furries who are friends of mine, and frankly, I think furries get a bad rap, but that's also because the bad side of the furry community is also very prominent, unfortunately.
Huh.
You guys might remember Chica Chica, otherwise known as Little Talks. She created my banner, and like we had a conversation about this. She showed me a video about what happened at a certain convention years ago, and it became infamous. Like, it was like the absolute breaking point for the furry community, where everything that it was the Murphy's Law of conventions, so much so that it pretty much tarnished the reputation of furries for like years and years
of them.
Yeah. It was the furry convention to end all furry conventions in the worst way possible. And unfortunately, that's kind of painted the community in a bad color, unfortunately.
Sorry, guys.
But again, like, it's one of those things where, like, a few bad apples are enough to spoil the bunch, and unfortunately that is the case here. But even then, like, that's not to say that there aren't any good apples in the furry community, because there certainly are, and in fact, there's a lot of them.
I kind of want to just, like, live and let live on this one.
Exactly. That's pretty much what it boils down to, unfortunately. Like, well, fortunately and also unfortunately. It's one of those things where, like, we're not into it, but we're not going to fault anyone for being into it either, because there are good aspects about it.
Now, if you were watching this in the original order, in the next episode, I'll say something about, like, I can't believe we've gotten this far without talking about furries in a game like this.
You know what?
But
yeah, you're all right, because I imagine
posthumously time traveled to talk about it before.
Because, yeah, like, this is a game that I feel...
Furries probably like this game a lot.
I actually never considered, like, now that you mentioned it, I actually do wonder what the typical furry thinks of this game. I know my friend Yumi really, really likes this game.
I mean, they're good designed anthropomorphic.
They're really good designed characters,
animal
honestly.
Characters. So, the other night, though...
Oh, yeah, you were saying, like, there's a bit of an apple.
The other night,
right?
Dylan was on the phone, and I was telling him about how we talked about him in this episode, and there were comments asking, like, is Dylan okay? Who is this guy? And stuff. And he thought it was hilarious. So he was like, oh, you have to send me the video. And I was like, okay, let me find it. And I'm looking through my videos on my phone. Let me make sure I find the right one. I click on it. I'm connected to the Chromecast. So I'm like, oh, whoops, I just put it on my queue. So I go to the queue, save, remove from queue, accidentally hit delete, and the video's gone forever. So all of this is Dylan's fault!
So that's what happened!
It's all Dylan's fault!
Okay, wow.
I mean, I know I did all the things to get it deleted, but it's his fault!
So that's why that
and
happened.
His stupid goat and his stupid zebra.
Oh, goodness.
And three of these guys now.
Yeah.
And I spent a really long time trying to, like... Now, if you're a YouTube partner, you can, like, request to have your video taken from the archives. Like, maybe YouTube's archived it, maybe they can find it again. I'm not actually a partner, because just for my own reasons, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So that can't help. I used a disc drill software that I downloaded to try and recover the deleted sound files.
Stop, Fidget. Just stop.
Oh, I think I'm coming down with something.
Yes, it is. We figured that out on our own. Come, Dust. Let us continue.
Ara's just so done.
So I really did try to get this episode back. But
hey, things are gonna happen. Funny thing, like, I was actually talking with John about the whole scenario because, like, the whole thing understandably stressed him out. Like, and this is among other things.
yeah,
But
it kind of made me realize how much stress I get from doing this channel in general.
Oh yeah, and that's like, so PSA for any YouTuber out there who does this kind of thing on a regular basis and whatnot. When you start looking, like, I understand that there are people who do YouTube for a living, and those that do, great. Keep on doing it like you do your thing.
Wow, that definitely did something. Come on, let's get back to the surface.
Be careful, Dust. I sense a powerful presence has been stirred by your actions.
Let's not keep it waiting then.
So as I was saying, the funny thing is, continuing with my PSA.
Yeah.
To those of you who rely on YouTube for a living, like, that's the choice you've made, great. John and I are two YouTubers who actually do not do YouTube, quote-unquote, for a living. We have jobs. We have, like, other things that we do
You
to
get
keep
some extra
ourselves
money
fed and
out of
whatnot.
Patreon and stuff like that, and that's,
Yeah,
that's great.
and that, like, at the end of the day, that's icing on the cake, mind you.
Yeah.
Like, not discrediting my patrons or
But
anything. You guys are
this
awesome.
is a creative outlet for us.
Exactly.
Above has been made clear. Onward and upward.
And you thought this was a bad idea.
Shut up, Fidget. But the thing is, like, if you're doing this not for a living, but as a creative outlet, and you are, like, you know, this is a way for you to express yourself, and, like, you know, if you do make money out of it, it's also cool that is snow-covered
Yeah, the save point is buried.
If you do this for a living if you do this as a creative outlet, and it's not something that you do to sustain yourself, then that's great. The instant you start getting stressed out about, like, you know, getting content out, and it's like, oh, I really gotta get content out, or otherwise, like, I'm not, like, people are not gonna understand why there's not a video coming out or anything like that. The instant you start thinking like that, that means that you're starting to see YouTube as an obligation rather than a hobby or something that you do for a creative outlet.
Yeah.
The instant you start thinking like that, you need a break.
Now, if it is your career, then there is kind of an obligation to
Yeah,
YouTube.
if you're doing YouTube for a living, like, this is your income, this is your way of like, you know, keeping yourself fed, then obviously you're going to be thinking of it as an obligation, and that's
sure,
perfectly fine.
To a certain extent, we feel like we have obligations to, like, our viewers, you know? Like,
Yeah, but it gets to the point where, like, there's a fine line where...
you gotta take care of yourself.
Exactly. You need to understand that, like, yes, doing YouTube is very important. Like, not just to yourself, like, maybe this is how you de-stress or anything like that, but once you start seeing it as an obligation and not as a way to basically be like, oh, I want to create stuff and things like that, you know? You need a break.
Yeah, which is why, after I get this video out, and I'll get the finale of Dust out, because that one's done and edited.
Yeah.
It'll come out after this video comes out. After I do that, you know, I'll post some other videos that I already have edited, but I'm probably gonna stop making new stuff until the end of the year, because...
Yeah, because, like, that's something I try to tell myself, because, funny thing, this whole losing a video in the middle of the playthrough and, like, you know, having to replace it and whatnot, that happened to me too a long time ago. In fact, some of you who are old-time GreenScorpion watchers know that actually happened with me with the Muramasa playthrough. Like, I lost a certain video in the Muramasa, the Demon Blade playthrough, that I actually went back and re-recorded it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't have the original footage for it either, so I actually just played through the segment that was already completed, and I just kind of, like, fill something in.
I lucked out that I still had this footage. To
Yeah,
work with,
so
too.
we at least still have this.
I was kind of having an existential crisis over it, though, just like how fragile all of the art I had made was, of like how easy it was for it to all go away.
Yeah, which honestly is not helped by the fact that Copa has been kind of putting pressure on us, unjustifiably too, because
It's probably gonna be fine, but a lot of times it feels like this is just all gonna end.
you want to know what the issue with Copa is, in my opinion? Like, it's not so much that this is something that's going to happen. It's not so much that this is something that needs to be done. Honestly, like, on paper, what Copa is doing, like, you know, the whole kid protection thing,
Yeah.
is perfectly fine.
Yeah, who could object to that? Who
Yeah,
can
like,
object
absolutely.
to
That is
protecting children.
That is something that is very important. The problem is they're not educating us. They are not telling us, hey, this is what this is. It's not going to be this. It's not going to be this. You don't have to worry about anything. They are not telling us anything. That's
A
the
good
problem.
combo here. Wow, I'm kind of proud of myself. This was a
Now
good
that you
combo.
can actually take a good look at what you're actually doing, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the issue with Copa, is that they're not telling us what we need to know.
YouTube is famously bad at communicating
Absolutely.
to its users.
Absolutely. And that's something that definitely needs to be fixed.
Like, if changes need to be made to, you know, for YouTube to abide by the law and stuff like that, I'm for that. This kinds of thing about how, like, you could get fined, but maybe you won't. But maybe you'll do what we want you to do and still get fined.
Exactly. Like, the problem stems from us not knowing what we need to do in order to avoid these potential consequences.
So yeah, things are a little bit scary, but as of right now, neither of us are planning on stopping, even if I'm
Oh,
planning
no, like,
on taking a little break.
I did back up every single one of my videos as a precaution. I don't think I'm, like, it's one of those scenarios where it's like, yeah, I have a solution in place, or like a backup, or like an emergency protocol in place. I just don't think, and I hope I never have to use it.
Yeah.
It's one of those scenarios. And yeah, like, I basically was telling John, like, dude, like, that's a surefire sign that you just need to take a break. Like, take some time to yourself, do some other things. If you want to work on some smaller videos, or like, one thing that I like to do is, like, when I get stressed out with making videos, and I do, guys, I definitely do get stressed out, I work on something that I know I'm going to have fun working on, and that's how I actually came out with the quickies.
Yeah.
Like, the quickies were, like, nice, fun little things that, you know what, I wanted to do. I wanted to try it, and it worked out.
Because it's hard, because at this point, if I can't relax by just not doing anything anymore,
Exactly.
then I just feel unfulfilled. So I'm still deciding, you know, I'll probably do some little work in every,
Yeah,
a
the
little bit
important
here and there, but
yeah, the important thing is that you don't feel like you need to get this out, otherwise you're going to lose out on something, which you
Yeah.
want, which you're not. And that's the important part.
dang, that firepower is though.
Yeah, I actually, like, I definitely think the lightning is the best power, is the best power from Fidget, but I also feel like the fire is just, like, the coolest.
Yeah,
That's
the
me
fire
personally,
one is
though.
fun. I'm surprised. There's never another fidget power after lightning.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
I mean, nah.
That
But no-
is kind of a spoiler, but I guess if you were expecting one, don't. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's cool. It's not like,
It's hard because I'm looking
we might
at-
as well get the disappointment of that little detail out
Yeah.
of the way now.
I'm not gonna spoil that Dust is Luke's father or anything.
That's fair enough. Or he is his own father.
Yeah, Fidget is Rosebud. Yeah, we found this little area here.
Yeah, that was
Get the key.
mainly for the key.
And slide through. This is a pretty zone, and we get through it pretty much all in one episode. There's like a little bit more mountain that heads over to the next episode.
Yeah. I believe we get to the end of it, and then, like, the next episode opens up with, the next boss fight, I think? Oh, no. I know what the next episode
Yeah.
opens up with, and, yeah.
Next episode's kind of important.
Yeah, it is. Hey, at the very least, you didn't lose that one.
Yeah.
That would have been a thing.
I can't decide it Oh yeah, weird notch in the wall here.
We do eventually figure out what this is.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys figure it out.
Looks like
We'll let you guys see the end result of that in a later episode.
Looks like an hourglass or maybe a goblet.
Well, not a later episode, but in a past episode. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, as soon as this episode comes out, this is going to become episode 15. Even though we posted it later, this will be in the playlist where episode 15 goes.
Yeah, we may as well have time traveled for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, and that puts us at about the end of our episode. So thank you for wow, 82% complete.
Yeah.
So thank you for bearing with us in this. I would have felt really unfulfilled if I just left episode 15 blank like this.
Yeah, but I'm glad we got through it. So
yeah, thanks
take
for
us
recording
away, man.
another one.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So until next time, I'm the Comic Foil,
I'm the Green Scorpion.
and we will see you later and earlier for the rest of this playthrough of Dust. If you're, watching this a while after the Dust playthrough comes out, thank you for catching up, and we'll also see you soon for the finale of this. It's going to be pretty awesome.
All right, I think we've milked this enough, man.
Okay,
Let's
later.
get out of here.